Hello everybody and welcome to another reading vlog. I thought I'd just highlight some of the bits and bobs I'm doing today. Just finished work for the day. Got to do some errands in town when I get back home. One of those is sending off a parcel of books that I sold on Vinted. And I've also got a WH Smith gift card to spend on some books, so I might have a little look whilst I'm down that way as well at some point today. Other than that, I'll probably update you on what I'm reading and listening to. I'm going to a little gig later on tonight, so I might show some highlights of that. But right now, as I am waiting for the train, I'm listening to Shards of Earth by Adrian Chbosky. This is my second read by him. Last month I read The Tiger and the Wolf, which is one of his fantasies. This is quite high, like sci-fi, and I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of like found family in a way. They're on the brink of losing humanity. There's this architect who is basically trying to wipe out planets, and they're trying to get in touch to see like why it's doing that. I'll give you some more details a little bit later because I think the synopsis can probably explain it a bit better than me. But my train is here, so I'm gonna skedaddle. Hello. So I have just returned home. Got a little bit of essentials, and of course essentials also count as books because why wouldn't it? As I mentioned earlier, I was in WH Smith, which is really handy because, as I said, I had a voucher to use that I got gifted for Christmas, and I needed to be in the post office anyway to send off some parcels. So I got a couple of books. So I have The Davenports by Crystal Marquis, and this sounds really good. It's kind of like historical fiction based on the real story of the C.R. Patterson dynasty. It's perfect for fans of Bridgerton and the Gilded Age, apparently. So it just says on the back, wealth, luxury, truth and love. The Davenports are one of the most influential families in 1910s Chicago, and their beautiful children are the toast of the elite social scene. They also are one of the few wealthy black families in Chicago. For the Davenport sisters and their families, life seems to follow a set plan: marriage, family and duty, but their hearts are restless. Olivia seeks a perfect love, while her younger sister Helen is desperate to pursue her true passions. Olivia's best friend Ruby must secure a marriage to save her family's fortunes, while the Davenport's maid Amy Rose seeks her own path. But beyond the champagne and chandeliers, the legacy of slavery threatens a future that they have always taken for granted. As the dreams and desires of these four young women collide with the outside world, can everyone get what they truly want? It's a bit different for me, but I think it might be one of those breath of fresh air books that is very strong kind of matriarch, generational in tale. Like, I really tend to enjoy those, and yeah, I have heard some good things for this. Really excited to get to this one, and the cover's absolutely stunning. Next up, I didn't even know this existed, but it looked as if it was published around 2020, 2021, and this is Death Note short stories. This is one of my OG faves, like the Death Note franchise I adored when I was a teen. I really should go back and reread them, rewatch the anime, because that was some happy times. This is by Sugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata, and this looks awesome. So as the title says, it's a selection of short stories, basically tales of lives irrevocably changed by the sinister influence of the Death Note, with surprising and thrilling answers to the question of what it truly takes to use the Death Note or fight it. Ooh! It also has the Death Note pilot chapter as well, and vignettes of Elle's life. Oh, I'm so excited. I really wasn't expecting more from this world to come out. Oh, it's got a little hidden text going on. Oh, it says Death Note. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I really wasn't expecting extra stuff. Like this is super cool. It says on the little inside flap that getting into the mindset of writing a light-hearted author's comment is too difficult at this time, January 2021, when the world is battling a novel coronavirus. All I can do is pray that we all regain some peace of mind as soon as possible. Please forgive any silliness you might see in this manga. That's just for the style. That's just part of the style. If anything seems less than profound, that's the limit of your humble writer. Or maybe professional work should be something you're not embarrassed about. But I've been embarrassed about how I read things I've written ever since I was in elementary school. Apologies, and thank you for reading anyway, Sugumi Oba. That is so sweet, honestly. Oh, bless. And then on the other side, Takeshi Obata says, the series ended a long time ago, but years later it's back as a short story collection. You never know what will happen next in this crazy world. I'm looking forward to getting into this. And then lastly, I was sort of low-key looking for this, and then just as I was out my way at the door, it was like right at the front, so I worked my way from the back basically. And this is volume 5 of Heartstopper. I need to watch the latest season because I adored season 1, and I don't know why I've put off season 2 for so long. But yes, this is the story of Nick and Charlie and their beautiful romance. Oh, this is such a stunning cover as well. It just looks so wholesome. It can either be like a really beautiful loving moment or a really vulnerable like breakup moment, which is kind of sad to think about. This could give you anything, do you know what I mean? Oh god. So yes, that is the little book haul that I've got for the time being. I am now probably going to sit and read a bit of Mayfly. That's one of my digital reads. I was talking a little bit about it in one of the last vlogs, but it's basically kind of like an ode to American Psycho. We're following Mayfly, who is a Disney frozen princess by day at the Disney park, and basically in her spare time she has this strange sadistic desire to harm people and do really fucked up things. And she meets Gideon, who kind of furthermore encourages and entices that side of her out, and they get up to absolute scandals and debauchery. And yeah, she's trying to keep that quiet amongst the normies while she's, you know, living her best life, slashing up people and doing some really weird stuff, you know. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, I'm probably going to read some of that. Might run a bath in a bit, getting some cozies, because as I say, I'm going out to a gig later tonight. I'm not staying long, like maybe an hour if that, just to hear some like music. It's like emo nights. There's like the OG like 2010s Fall Out Boy inspired music, Paramore, I'm imagining that sort of stuff. Really looking forward to it. But because I don't usually go out late at night, it's late for me, I'll probably have a nap. So I want to be bathed and in comfies to sleep when I want to, and then I'll probably just put this back on, to be honest. But yeah, I will catch you in a bit. So I have just come back from the little gig. We didn't stay too long. It was fun. The venue was a little bit strange for what it was though, and I just realised I was getting to take my fierce brows off. But anyway, I thought I'd quickly nip on and talk to you briefly about what Secret Santa is about, which is an audiobook that I have literally nearly finished. I think I've got maybe like 5% left. So it says it's The Office meets Stephen King dressed up in holiday tinsel in this fun, festive and frightening horror comedy set during the horror publishing boom of the 80s. Out of work for months, Lucy Mayer is desperate to work anywhere in publishing. Prestigious Blackwood Patterson isn't the perfect fit, but a bizarre set of circumstances leads to her hire and a firm mandate. Lucy must find the next horror superstar to compete with Stephen King, Anne Rice and Peter Straub. It's the 80s after all, and horror is the hottest genre. It's a bit difficult though, because this publishing firm that she's with strictly does like lit fic really like intense stories, not really genre fiction, and she's trying to make this change. But as soon as she arrives, Lucy finds herself the target of co-workers' mean-spirited pranks. The hazing reaches its peak during the company's annual Secret Santa gift exchange, when Lucy receives a demonic-looking object that she recognises but doesn't understand. Suddenly, her co-workers begin falling victim to a series of horrific accidents akin to a George Romero movie, and Lucy suspects that her gift is involved. With the help of her former author, the flamboyant Fabian Nightingale, Lucy must track down her anonymous Secret Santa and figure out the true meaning of this cursed object in her possession before it destroys the company and her soul. I think this is probably going to be like my first mid-book of the year. I'm enjoying it. Like, it's okay, but that's all it really is at the moment. Like, it is just okay, and I don't think much is going to change in my opinion between now and the end of the book. I've only got very little left of it. The stakes haven't felt like they've been higher, but the anticipation and the tension hasn't felt like drawn out or exciting, unfortunately. It's just been an okay read, and it's probably one that I will forget pretty much soon after reading it, to be honest. Bit random, but the book I just finished, which was Secret Santa, and the book I've just started, which is Suicide Forest, have both randomly mentioned Trump Tower, which I never hear about until now, apparently. So I'll give you a brief synopsis of Suicide Forest by Jeremy Bates. Set in Japan's ancient Suicide Forest, a place that is easy to enter but for some impossible to leave. And our main character seems to be teaching English over in some of the schools in Japan, and when bad weather prevents a group of friends from climbing neighbouring Mount Fuji, they decide to spend the night camping in Okagara. But they get more than they bargained for when one of them is found hanged in the morning, and they realise there might be some truth to the legends after all. By the way, my thoughts for Secret Santa didn't much change. It was one of those just okay stories. I liked it, but it's not going to be memorable for me, I would say. It wouldn't put me off trying more from the author though, because I do feel like there's stuff that could be developed that could entice me more, that I would like to see if that's the case. But I did give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Hello, so I realised I didn't actually give you more information about Shards of Earth, so before I continue on, I really loved it. I know I already said that, and Elsa's getting really affectionate. Oh, bless her. Let me just give her some cuddles. Hold on. So we're following Idris, who's like our main perspective, I would say, and he's not aged or slept since they remade him in the war, which is such an interesting thing to kind of break apart. So obviously we've got all these AI and like advanced technology, but when they first, from what I understood, when they first started sort of stepping their toes into this kind of synthesized humans and just seeing what we could do with the already like organic material of Earth people, right, they kind of made this wave where they were like super soldiers, in my opinion. This is like how I'm digested it in my head, but his effect is everything that they went through the war it's given him such severe PTSD, like his body cannot sleep. He doesn't go into what's it called, hydro. He doesn't freeze, like they don't freeze his body. He's never been frozen, and he just doesn't sleep. So that's like his perspective. And 50 years after the war, he still looks like in his early 20s, but he's like 70 or something, right? And they've discovered something strange that's been just abandoned in space. They know it's got something to do with the architects, which I mentioned earlier on in the vlog, but they're wondering, oh my god, are they returning? Why? Because Idris was like one of the sole people who managed to get rid of them in the war, right? So him and his crewmates are basically tackling that situation. They're also hunted by gangsters, cults, governments, everything that's trying to stop them doing what they need to do. It's a lot, but it was such a good story. So now on to thoughts about Suicide Forest, which I'm currently reading. I'm not like super too far into it, but I did start it last night and I have been listening to it a bit this morning. I'll continue on when I start doing the washing up. But yeah, it's interesting and I'm intrigued to see where the story kind of develops and goes. But I am finding that everything just feels very insensitive and almost like dated in how they respond to suicide, right? And there's like no redeemable character that has like kind of pushed the boundaries and spoken in a more sympathetic, empathetic way towards people that have completed suicide, right? So it's a difficult one because nobody's likable, and I'm not really caring if anything awful happens to them because they're not caring about, you know, trespassing on a burial ground, really. Like, they've got no respect. So it's difficult to muster an ounce of empathy for them in return because they're not giving any to the people, you know, they're trying to find a body, right? And it's not very nice. But yeah, I'm hoping there's more like horror aspects, because right now it doesn't really feel like we're talking about the forest in a meaningful way. I can't really see anything horrifying happening, and it just seems to be almost like high school drama about relationships. I'm like, dude, you're lost in a suicide forest. Priorities, come on. So I managed to finish Mayfly. I finished 3 books today. Mayfly was the first of those 3, and I ended up giving it a 5 out of 5 stars. It was so captivating. It was like a train wreck. You just couldn't look away, and every time I put the book down, I wanted to instantly pick it back up again. Like, it was all I could think about. There were some scenes, I mean, there was a lot of scenes where I was physically cringing as well as inwardly like flinching because it was just so disgusting and disturbing, but I really enjoyed it. After that, I finished up my audiobook of Suicide Forest by Jeremy Bates. Can you hear her? In the end, I thought that this did have like a big turnaround. I ended up caring about the characters' lives a little bit more as they began to open up about their connections to suicide and why they were actually kind of on this journey, this destination. I did end up appreciating it more as like a character study once the depth was kind of revealed, but I still like didn't really like any of the characters, and I would have preferred more on the actual forest itself and like the legend and lore of it all. And then lastly, I read the entirety of an audiobook. This was Lily Allen's My Thoughts Exactly. I started it off on the BookBeat app, and then I ran out of hours, and because I'm not like renewing it, I had like a discount thing that I was using for 2 months, but that's over now. So I managed to find it on my library app, and I've finished like the other 30% on there, and ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was such an interesting memoir. A lot of stuff I didn't know about her. I quite like her music. I kind of grew up listening to her music, to be honest. I really enjoyed that it was read by her as well. Her speaking voice is just as easy to listen to as her singing voice is. So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap up this vlog here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I shall catch you in another video soon. Bye.